What's up guys, Duelist Tellarknight here, and I'm coming at you with a brand new Tellarknight deck profile for this most recent ban list from May 22nd, if I remember correctly. This deck actually surprised me the other day. I don't know why it surprised me, because I've been winning tournaments with it left and right still. But I went to a locals in Kansas, and I got first place, and most people there were playing Sky Striker, Trickstar, or Knightmare SPYRAL. And then there were two Pendulum players, and then I was just the odd one out with Tellarknights, a deck that's 2 going on 3 years old. And I won the tournament, and I don't know if it's because no one could really side to stop it, or if I just made my deck that well. So, let's go ahead and get to the deck profile. This deck actually proved to be very consistent for me this past weekend, so I figured, why not? I'll do a deck profile on it, considering it's just an unexpected win. Alright, so you have 3 Tellarknight Deneb, which is your usual for the deck. 3 Altair, also another usual. And then you're going to run 3 Unicall High. I've been going back and forth between 2 and 3 on this card. Mainly because I feel 2 might be a little, 3 might be a little bricky, but 2, the deck's not consistent enough, so it goes back and forth. Because if you draw into it mid-game, yes, it's an 1800 beater, but it's not that great for, like, you can't send a monster off of it, so it kind of stalls if you get it late game, I guess you could say. And then next, you're going to run 2 copies of Vega. Never run more, never run less. If you run more, you're going to see it when you don't need it. If you run less, you're not going to see it at all until you send it to the grave with Unicall High. And then last, to top off your monsters, since you don't run very many, run a total of 9, 10, 11, 12. Sirius, so that you can recycle some of your monsters, which Sirius is very helpful in this deck for that reason. But that is it for the monster lineup. Let's go ahead and get to the spells. For the spells, since you cannot run 3 Rhoda still, I run 2 Skybridge and a Rhoda. Skybridge is very helpful because it allows you to summon Unicall High, ditch a Vega off of it if you have Deneb in hand, and then activate Skybridge, summon out Altair. Altair's effect will get out Vega from grave, which will then get out Deneb from hand, allowing you to search for another Altair so that you can continue next turn. And then you go into Triver and just reset the entire field, and your opponent's just like, well, that happened. And then after that, I play 3 copies of Pot of Duality because I find it better than Desires, considering I run such a low monster count. I just don't feel safe activating Desires when I have 12 monsters in main deck. So, yeah. And it gets you your trap cards faster. And your board wipes. Speaking of board wipes, the last 2 spells in the deck are Regeki and Dark Hole. Dark Hole is very helpful if you, like, Call of the Haunted Delteros, because then when sent to the grave, you get a Tellarknight monster from deck to field, which is pretty nice. So yeah, that's it for spells. For traps, gotta love traps. 3 Nova Alpha, standard in the deck. Surprised it never got hit back in the day when Tellarknights were very popular, considering it's a ditch a monster, negate something your opponent's trying to do, and then draw a card. So you're pretty much getting a -1 on field, but +1 in hand, which is pretty nice. And then next for traps, 3 Call of the Haunted, because why would you run less than 3 in a deck that works really well from the graveyard? And then I decided to run two Oasis of Dragon Souls rather than the Back to the Fronts that I was running previously, because this card you can recycle with Triver, which allows you to continue your plays more. So, that's my reason on that one. Alright, next on traps, I have 3 Rivalry of Warlords. Because, I don't know if you guys have noticed or not, but I have. When it comes to a deck that uses Link Monsters, or requires Link Monsters to go off, your Link Monsters are not going to be the same type as each other unless it is Knightmare or Sky Striker. Or Cybers, I guess, because Cybers have a ton of Link Monsters. And then, it also, they won't be the same type as the monsters in main deck unless it's Cybers, of course. So, like Pendulums, they can't summon out Electromite and then Pendulum summon cards from the extra deck. And World Chalice, it just kind of stalls them. So, I just figured I'd run this card, see how far it got me, and it actually won me the tournament, so this card saved the day. And then next you run your Solemn Engine. I say engine. Solemn Brigade is what my friends and I call it. I'm just used to saying engine when it comes to Sky Striker and stuff. So you run 2 strike, a warning, and a judgment. And then after that, because of the possibility of pendulums, you run 2 anti-spell and an Imperial Order. I decided to run these because also Sky Striker, they kind of use their spell cards a lot. They tend to revolve around those, so that's where that came from. And then the last 2 cards in the main deck are going to be Fiendish Chain, because negating effects is what the deck does best, it seems. Aside from just resetting the board. Alright. And now for the extra deck. Just so you guys know, I do not run side decks anymore. I've completely stopped doing that. The last side deck I ran was back when ABC first came out and Blue Eyes was still a pretty big threat. So, yeah, I just haven't found a need for side decks since. So, extra deck. 3 Triver. It's a given. I really don't think I need to explain that. And 3 Batlamias, also a given. Because it's the best way to get out Triver turn 1 if you get a Vega and something else. It's so helpful. Just gonna say that. And then you have Delteros. Self-explanatory, it's a pretty much Regeki break, I guess you could say. Target 1 card on the field and destroy it. And then I run Diamond because Shadow Dino is still a thing. Matthew. I say Matthew because that's my friend and he loves to run Shadow Dino. And yeah. Kind of an annoying deck if you can't stop it. Easily, anyhow. I can beat it with this deck. Next, I run the Heroic Champions, Excalibur, and 86 Rangominiad. I summon Rangominiad way more than I summon Excalibur. But Rangominiad, well, Excalibur is still a really good beater, or just, hey, get over my 4K Defender. But Rangominiad, this deck can get it out with 5 materials so quickly and efficiently, it's not even funny. And I enjoy that, to be honest. Because then your opponent's kind of stuck for a few turns. So, next thing I play after Rangominiad, well, after the Heroic Champions, is Dark Rebellion. I've ran that since it came out in, what was it, 2014, 2013? I think it was, actually it may have been, my junior year of high school, which would have been 2014, 2015. So, yeah. And then Tornado Dragon, because it's spell trap pop. Really, really nice against pendulums. And Tsukiyomi for draw power. And Silent Honor Arc because, I'll just take your Firewall, why not? Or your Saryuja. It's always nice to take your opponent's Saryuja. They get so mad. And then, last but not least, Castel. Castel is really just used to shuffle your opponent's main monster back into the deck. Or their biggest monster on board if you can target it. Because I remember when Dark Destroyer was a thing, couldn't really target it. So yeah, that is my Tellarknight deck. Thank you guys for watching. Yes, for those of you that are wondering, I do not play any Link monsters in the deck, mainly because I don't have any Isolde. But, the deck still runs very consistently, and I don't see a need for Link monsters, mainly because they'll get sent back to the extra deck thanks to Triver. So, yeah. Tellarknights have really just become a negate and board reset deck, but it's still really nice to